ordering of events, and we are actually off. Right at the bat, Moon Pearl in Sanctuary. Well, hello there. So both Kyung and Zelga finding that early Moon Pearl, and we'll see. Looks like Zelga this time is going to head over and do Hula Hand, and I believe Kyung is following right behind him.
Yes, and I think it's a good choice because you're less guaranteed to get rupees. Well, the same amount of them in the pool, they're not all confined to dungeons, so they're more spread out than they would be in a regular seed.
Absolutely. You see the setup here. They'll drop in the hole and end up in the Hula Hand room. Well, they'll be able to get a fair amount of rupees. And like you said, it's very important in Keysanity seeds to have enough money, especially since you're less guaranteed to find them in chests.
Should be checking Link's house here.
That's a very handy 3 bombs there.
Yeah.
That's going to suit them very well when they go over to Kakariko.
Yeah, looks like they're going to both do the southern trip. Maybe look for another couple of bombs in the bushes before the Forest Grove.
Absolutely. Normally, you would farm this for a little bit. Kyung not even going to bother. There are 2 50-50 bomb pulls here. Zelga gets both of them. So that'll be pretty handy. Kyung already has pretty much all he's going to need for this Kakariko trip, though.
He's going straight to race game while Zelga's going to check it out.
Yeah, this is the play that Kyung just made is one that you'll see fairly frequently in Keysanity, more so than the other modes. Because it's more likely there's going to be an item of value over there with so many small keys in the pool. This time, just a big 20, so not really going to pay out.
I didn't quite catch what was in the library there. But
didn't look to be anything of value. We'll get a look on Kyung's screen when he goes in.
Was a compass.
Just a compass. Zelga-san finds a blue boomerang in the back of the tavern. Be checking out Chicken Hut here. Ooh, a little slippery with that bomb there.
Oh, and that's a great find. First up, the flute right in your Kakariko Village check.
Absolutely, very handy, and Zelga can pull out immediately to activate that flute. I imagine Kyung will be doing much the same. Kyung's actually going to go and buy some bombs first off. This is one of the nice things about doing Hula Hand early, is if you don't have enough bombs going through here, you can just make a quick stop there and grab some more.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bottle vendor was a minor scam. 100 of your rupees for 20 of his.
We have our first key, and it's a pretty useless one. A Misery Mire small key, the first chest in the Kakariko well.
True, one key's nice for the routing, though. To help route Misery Mire out.
Not totally useless, but not what they're looking for. And wow, this well. That is the gloves and hook shot. So I already foresee a trip to Death Mountain in our near future.
Yep. Especially with flute, too. Just go straight up there.
Now, the other thing we did find in the well here, which Kyung's about to pick up, is the map for Eastern Palace. Now, these can be pretty handy early in the seed. Why don't you tell us why, Langdon?
Yes, because in Keysanity, pendants and crystals are not marked on your world map. You must find the map of the dungeon to get that revealed, or complete the dungeon.
Absolutely. So finding those early maps can give you a pretty good lead on which dungeons are going to be required to finish the game. We did see a couple more small keys there. Ganon's Tower small key, which is handy, but not really something you want to see this early. And we also found a Castle Tower small key in Blind Set.
Yes. Which is... Agam's Tower is always a check that can be made in Keysanity. Although not quite yet, without any more items to do that.
Yes, of course. You'll still need something to get past that initial barrier, either the Master Sword or the Cape. And that would only get you logical access to one of the chests. There is one other chest in the Dark Room, in the Dark Maze. Nice bomb tree pull for Zelga-Dasan. He's going to save himself a little bit of money over Kyong with that.
Oh my... We're going to have the hammer, so that's straight up Dark World access.
That is very interesting. There are a lot of routing choices that are open to our runners at this point. Zelga-Dasan going to opt to save and quit, though, after seeing the compass there in the Lost Woods dropdown. It's going to start at Link's house. We'll see where he opts to head next.
I think he's going to make that Dark World access useful and go straight probably to the Hype Cave.
Certainly looks that way. Kyong going to pop out. Remember that he had not checked that. It's a good thing he went and looked instead of fluting away immediately. He gets his hammer. Definitely one of the things about Keysanity that you're going to want to keep in mind is that you'll see a lot more gambles as Kyong gets a nice clip with that hook shot, gets his sword. Big key for Misery Mire on Zelga-Dasan's side.
Yes. I think Keysanity, you have to expect to at least double dip at least a couple dungeons.
Yeah, absolutely. Very rare that you can make single trips into these dungeons, and also just have to be more thorough in general with these overworld checks.
Well, Zelga's going to get some information.
Yeah, Palace of Darkness and Desert Palace are our 5/6 crystals. That is something you will almost never see in open or standard modes. Non-Keysanity is talking to the Big Bomb Merchant and getting a read on what those two dungeons are. So that gives Zelga-Dasan some very good information early. All right, and as Zelga-Dasan finishes up here in the South Dark World, Kyong going to make his way to the back of Escape and grab these 3 chests.
Yeah, it's interesting on the route divergence right now. Zelga going straight Dark World and Kyong going to clean up some of the Light World checks.
Yeah, definitely this is one of the things that you'll see in Seeds where you get that early Dark World access. Some people like to stick to their routing, their Light World routing, especially in Keysanity, where, as I mentioned, you do have to be much more thorough about your checks. But some people just like to get into the Dark World immediately. If the Seed is giving you that, it's usually a good tell that there's some good stuff there. We did see Zelga-Dasan doing some extra digs to get some more money. Wanting to have enough if he ever decides to potentially go to Zora, and he'll flute over and do the Dam and Mini Moldorm checks. Oh, just misses the clip there with the hook shot.
Gonna have to wait a little bit to get his first sword.
Yeah, that clip there, the timing is a little bit stringent. With the practice a little bit, you can get it pretty reliably, but fortunately unable to do so there. As Kyong is going to head straight into the Dark World from Kakariko. And there you go, Zelga-Dasan gets the clip the second time.
So yes, going back to this will be your first dungeon, Skull Woods in Keysanity. It has a potential of 8 items, 7 items overall.
Yeah, definitely one of the most different dungeons when you're comparing this to your normal modes, where you're only going to get 2 items from Skull Woods, so it's definitely a little bit less of a value play. But we'll see Kyon go through here, and yeah, like you said, there's a lot of opportunity here, and Skull Woods is actually one of the easier dungeons to check. It's pretty quick.
And this is always a small key to Skullwoods in this room, even in Keysanity.
Yes, because this room does have a drop down from the surface. If you were to drop into there and there was no small key, you would be stuck. Right, Zelga's going to give us our first look at Death Mountain here. Like mentioned, we got that hook shot and gloves. Still missing the lamp, but with the flute, do have Death Mountain access. That sword's going to help him navigate through here and rescue the old man. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that statue, there's one pixel that statue can go where it will not activate the button, yet you'll be able to pull it through the corridor to get it close enough.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty annoying room to go through, and that is one of the weird quirks with it. That's a big small key find, though.
Arguably even the biggest small key.
Yeah, so that's the small key for Swamp Palace. It is the only key that's required for Swamp Palace, but it is very, very important.
And he
it
did
blocks
pick
off
up
the majority of the dungeon.
Yeah, and he did pick up the Swamp Palace map in Skullwoods too, so you know right away if that's going to be a potential area you'll be checking.
For sure. We still need the mirror and the flippers to even be able to get into that dungeon, but it's one of the things when you're trying to read the logic in a Keysanity seed. If it's giving you that kind of stuff early, there's a fair chance that there's going to be some items of value in there. Yeah, that's a tough death. Being in the Dark World on 4 hearts and green mail can be a rough experience, even for experienced runners.
Mm-hmm. At least you did get the check of Bumper Cave.
Yeah, I did see a small key there, so I mean don't know that's going to be required, but it could very well be something our runners have to come back to. And Zelgad's son finds a Master Sword, so we were talking about that chest in Castle Tower. That is now available.
Another nice find by Zelga, the mirror in Paradox Cave.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very nice find. He also found a compass. Compasses are something you'll see runners avoid if it's an avoidable item, like as we saw on the library. They won't be coming back for that. However, compasses do offer you some benefit if you're a newer runner in Keysanity. They will tell you exactly how many items are in a dungeon when you're in there, and also how many chests you've opened or items you've collected. So it can be very handy for newer runners, but runners of this caliber with this experience are not going to be bothering with compasses at all. We do see Zelga the Sun going into Tower of Hera now. He can't really do much in here at the moment. Can only really check the first 2 chests.
Yep. Very quick 2 items. Yeah, 300 rupees. Not at least he'll have enough money for the rest of the seed now. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kyon going to go back into the Dark World, into the Village of Outcasts here, and we'll see. I'd imagine he'll make a first 4 check here in Beamstown. But I'll find some Fire Rod.
That means if he wishes, he could go back to Skull Woods and, I believe, complete it.
Yeah, he should be able to. Obviously, he hasn't found any small keys for that dungeon yet, but there are some available options as drops off of enemies. Finds the big key to Ice Palace, which really only unlocks one item, so not the most important big key, but it'll be nice if he ever has to dive into that dungeon.
It's another tell, too. Just means that maybe there's a chance you'll have to do Ice Palace.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we know we have to do Palace of Darkness, and Kyong finds another small key there. So those are very important because Palace of Darkness is easily the most key-heavy dungeon, and to make your life easier when you're trying to navigate around it, having more keys is better.
What? So that was a second small key to pod in Thieves Town here?
Yeah, 2 in this dungeon alone, and we'll see Kyong take a death warp here.
Oh, Uncle holding the map of Ice Palace.
That'll be handy. It'll tell us if Ice Palace is going to be required this seed or not.
And another rupee hoard.
But I imagine now with that mirror and with the Castle Tower key and Master Sword, Zelda-san is making a very high percentage play here. Going to go do Escape. He'll mirror and might check out the dark room, dark in the sewer. He still doesn't have the lamp. But then I imagine we'll head up to Castle Tower and grab at least the one chest there. Maybe the second if he's familiar enough with that dark maze.
Yeah, it would definitely be a good check to make, even if as a minor sequence break to do it.
Yeah, dark rooms are definitely something worth knowing because, say for instance, there is an item there in that dark maze. You don't want to have to route back to it if you can help it. But this will be our first look at the at Escape here from on Zelga's side, so we'll see if he gets anything good.
If I remember my Keysanity logic, these are technically out of logic until you find the castle or the escape key. It's because there would be not that any runner would do it, but you could lock yourself out of them. It's a very convoluted way to lock yourself out of them.
Yeah, it would be a very, very interesting thing to do, but
yeah.
I don't think we're in any danger of seeing that.
No.
Alright, and the ball and chain guard. So it's on opting to just use some sword beams there, and we'll grab the final chest here in the dungeon, which is the red meringue. Not exactly what he was hoping for, I'm sure.
And yes, enemy drops. If an enemy drops a key, they will still drop a key in Keysanity. So you'll always get the big key from that ball and chain guard.
Yeah, absolutely. So not going to be seeing much here on Zelga's side for the moment. Kyong going through Hype Cave as Zelga did earlier. Now, I'll be curious to see if Kyong decides to make a trip into Pod, because he does have 3 small keys now.
Yeah, and 3 keys does unlock the back logically, even without bow. At least the chests. Right now, without lantern, it's only really the one back chest, but I think these runners will be checking almost all of Pod if they can. For
sure. So we'll see what Kyong decides to do. Pulling out the hammer, so that means he is going to this eastern side of the Dark World as Zelga-san makes his way into Aghanim's Tower.
Alright, that's this first chest in excuse me. This first chest in Aghanim's Tower was accessible with just the Master Sword they got. And then the second chest in the Dark Room with the first key.
5 bomb upgrade. So, assuming that early Castle Tower key was pointing us in this direction, we should expect there to be something here, but we'll see if this play pays off for Zelga-san. He hasn't really found a whole lot on this trip.
Right. Kyong picks up another map of Pod. He knows that's the red crystal. Does he also talk to the bomb merchant?
Yeah, so that map doesn't really help him at all, but
I believe he at least has maps of Swamp Palace and Skull Woods.
I believe so, yes. Zelga-san only finding a piece of heart in the Dark Maze, so that entire trip really didn't net Zelga anything of value.
Well, I guess at least it's out of the way, though.
That's
at least
true.
It's nice to check it all in one go instead of having to come back with after getting one Aghanim Tower key for that one chest.
Yeah, and especially in a Keysanity race, you're going to expect to have to do escape at some point. So it's very nice for him to be able to kind of get that all out of the way at the same time. But now we're seeing him make the play I thought Kyung might make, and Kyung might still make this play. But oh, Eastern Palace Big Key. Now, that doesn't really do much. It opens up one item and the boss, but our runners still need the bow before they're going to be able to finish Eastern Palace anyways. So.
And our green pendant will be in Turtle Rock.
Ooh, I don't know if that's good or bad for our runners here. I might prefer Turtle Rock just to be a crystal, just so I know I have to do it regardless. But especially in the Keysanity seat, seeing that being green pendant, it's not filling me with a whole lot of confidence.
Oh, I didn't see anything actually.
Looked to me like Ice Palace was a crystal. So. And since we now know our 3 pendant dungeons, Skullwoods, Thieves' Town, and Turtle Rock, and we also know our 5-6 crystals, we have knowledge of all of the dungeons at this point. Kyung sees the boots on the desert ledge. Those are currently inaccessible, but they're going to be probably something they wrap back to once they find either the book or the mitts.
Oh wow! So yeah, Pod is completely bow locked, or no, it isn't. But Zelga is not going to decide to continue into it for now, mainly because he hasn't gotten the 2 keys from Thieves' Town yet.
Yeah, so there's actually very little he can do in Palace of Darkness anyways, so instead going to opt to check Eastern Palace here.
Yep. Yeah. And runners, in Keysanity, there is a route that you don't really want to open that first door in Pod. You would really like to go through the bow section, because you can access the entire dungeon and then save at least 1 key in Keysanity.
Yeah, very important to save that final small key because you do require 1 to get through the basement to the boss. So they can skip some key doors with the hammer jump, going through the bow lock section, but they want to make sure that they at least save 1 of those keys so they can get to Helm's Ring. I definitely find Palace of Darkness to be the big, the main dungeon that kind of gets changed the most when you switch from normal to Keysanity.
Yeah, especially with the relatively recent discovery of Potion Glitch too.
Yeah, if Zelga had a bottle there with a potion in it, he definitely, I would imagine, would have opted to sequence break over to that bow lock side. I mean, if he finds a potion in a bottle here in Eastern Palace, I imagine that would push him to go do that right now. Ooh, Kyung, gotta be careful here. Got a little bit knocked around by that dead rock.
Yeah, with one heart, you have to be a little bit careful in those. Oh yeah, mini Moldrum room. Well, 3 should be fine now.
Yeah, should be fine on 3. But yeah, on green mail, those mini Moldorms do 1 heart of damage each, so be a little bit scary if you're low health.
Look like nothing much in Eastern.
Nope, still just trying to knock out all these locations as efficiently as possible. So it looks like Zelgaton is going to now make his way into the Dark World here. I would imagine would start with a Skullwoods check and route in to Thieves Town. And we're still lacking a lot of important items to be able to complete a lot of these dungeons. You know, missing the bow for Eastern Palace, missing big keys for most of the other dungeons, and can't even really get to things like Turtle Rock, Misery Mire, Ice Palace. So it's going to be a lot of overworld checking, trying to gather the resources necessary to be able to tackle these dungeons.
Yeah, I mean, Bits would likely be the biggest find right now, but Flippers for the full swamp, except for the big key chest.
Yeah, Flippers would be a massive tell from the seed at this point. Basically telling us, get to Swamp Palace as soon as possible. We see Zelga making use of that small key he found earlier. I can't quite recall where he got it. He might have gotten it in Palace of Darkness, but saves him a little bit of time routing over what Kyong had to do. Yeah, that's definitely one of the nuances of Keysanity that you don't really think about when you're playing a normal seed. So you can definitely route around in Skullwoods without finding any small keys, but having at least the one makes your trip a little bit easier.
Let's see. I'm starting to think what hasn't been checked at the moment. I don't think Agina has been checked yet.
I actually believe Kyong did check that because he was over in the desert area. Didn't find anything there.
All right.
Zora is technically in logic. I don't think either of our runners here has checked Ice Rod Cave.
Ice Rod Cave, I believe, was checked.
Oh, I must have missed that. Yeah, I assume with that flute, that's easier to check.
I don't think mirror spots. I don't think even K45 is in check, so the mirror spots are probably open too. Like Graveyard Ledge, K45, the cave south of the Forest Grove.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see those soon from Zelga here.
Let's see if Aghanim. Oh, I think that was the blue cane. So
it certainly looked like it.
Possibly logically required, but I don't think we're going to see either runner go for it.
Oh, certainly not. I mean, potentially Spike Cave could hold something valuable, and it's more likely to in Keysanity, but even still, I think our runners will wait until either they have a potion, fairy in a bottle, or just enough health to get through. Because you definitely don't want to be making that Aghanim play just for a blue cane.
Nope.
But we do see Zelga going to make this trip over to Graveyard Ledge. Has to kind of take the long way around, unfortunately, with no boots and no mitts. But we'll see if this holds a valuable item or something to point him in a direction. Well, that's Quake. And while nice to have, doesn't really do anything for us at the moment.
Don't find anything in these mirror spots. You might have to just bite the bullet and use that key to explore Palace of Darkness without any other options at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't feel great to be in that position, but sometimes, yeah, you just kind of have to make that call. Zogi-san taking this moment to check the final 3 chests in Hyrule Castle. So nice bit of routing there, routing that in with a Graveyard Ledge check, which, sometimes Graveyard Ledge can be one of those ones that's just kind of out of the way and you're only doing that. So it doesn't feel great to do unless you're comboing it with something else.
It's like Zelga is going to be checking the village of outcasts. We're going to find at least the fire rod, a couple of pod keys.
Yeah, he might kick himself a little bit when he sees those 2 pod small keys because he was just in there. But that's kind of the nature of Keysanity and Rando just in general. Take a moment to get himself lined up there with those bushes and poke his way through.
Oh yeah. At least you have a sword. It's even worse when you're swordless.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kyong going to head in and grab his 2 items here from Castle Tower. Then I'll be curious to see what Kyong decides to do next. They're really running out of options at this point.
Yeah, because a lot of orphaned locations. There's the cave south of Grove, but I think they've already checked that area.
Yeah, they both checked it without the mirror, so they were unable to grab it on their first trip through. So yeah, there's that. There's Sora. Let's see, Kyong here finds the torch. That's a good little bit of information to know if you've got the fire rod in this room, because doing this in the dark is not fun. But now we're going to see Kyong head over, and this is, same for, when Zelga-san came over here. I really like this play. And I like it even more from Kyong's side because he's got those 3 small keys. He's going to be able to check a lot more Palace of Darkness.
I swear Palace of Darkness always has at least 1 small key to itself in there. It's even one more. There's that can, with a hammer yump, that can open up almost all the chests.
It happens a frightening percentage of the time. So I would not be surprised in the slightest to see that. Well, as far as those orphan locations go, and specifically Cave 45, this is going to, I think, really benefit Zelga-san's routing, because now he's in the area, he's going to be able to more easily check that spot and then go join Kyong over in Palace of Darkness. We're going to get some new information here from both runners. Zelga-san going to be checking K45, which, as we mentioned before, has not been checked by either one, and eventually we're going to see Kyung go into Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. Kyung will also be able to check the big chest here, which Zelga was not able to do. Catfish is holding that big key to Eastern Palace.
Oh, interesting. Zelga's actually going to head back into Skull Woods, having that fire rod now, and just going to opt to finish this off.
And even though he has found one key for Skullwoods, you don't need any keys. You can get enough from enemies and drops to complete the full clear and complete the dungeon without having to worry.
I like him making use of the stun prize. So he knows that the stun prize is small magic spot, and just slowly building up his magic meter as he goes through. So even though Skull Woods is a pendant dungeon, there's still 2 items back here, and
Oh yeah. So yep, I didn't catch that earlier, but yeah, Thieves Town small key and oh my, are you kidding?
Wow,
Pure vanilla bow.
that is a crazy find. And it's crazy enough in a normal mode, but in Keysanity to have the bow be in its vanilla location.
I don't know if I can say I've seen it before.
I've seen the bow in the big key chest. I've seen it in Eastern Palace before, but yeah, I'm not trying to rack my brain think if I've seen that in a spot. That is crazy, and that is really, really nice for Kyung. That is an incredible find, given the fact that he came here first before doing Palace of Darkness. He can't finish Palace of Darkness, but now he can check so much more of it. Pretty much everything in the dungeon except for the boss. Well, I'm fairly confident I know what our racers will be talking about post-race.
Yep. So let's see if this is going to be a bottleneck or if something else is going to open up with Mothula here. That is a small key to Turtle Rock.
Less useful in a seed where Turtle Rock is a green pendant, but could still be required to get an item in there. And given the chest count in Turtle Rock, could definitely be required for something. Now, I'm trying to remember, where was that big key for Eastern Palace?
It was on Catfish.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And of course, Zelga-san has not gone that way yet.
Has enough rupees, so me route both Catfish and Zora.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll need to do that at some point here in the near future. You mentioned that it's fairly common to find small keys for Palace of Darkness in Palace of Darkness, but it's also possible the big key might be in here. That would really be something.
Well, Kyung is going to spend this key, it seems. Oh no, never mind, he got the statue. So I'll take the route.
Yeah, these Palace of Darkness keys are incredibly precious.
Uncle's bombs at Agina.
Yeah, so we'll see what Zelga decides to do next. He is very, very quickly running out of options. So I have to imagine that pyramid play to Catfish to potentially Zora is going to be pretty high value for him. And indeed, looks like he's going to be setting up a fake flipper here. Which is unfortunate, because if he follows through with this and goes all the way to Zora, we're not going to get him to Catfish. Kyung finds the Tempered Sword, though, in pot.
Yep. I have a feeling there's going to be something else in pod.
Yeah, certainly. At this point, given how many other checks have been made, feels like with the chest density here, you can see it on the compass there. 14 items in Palace of Darkness. Well, there's the lamp.
Well, that at least puts pod in logic when you get the big key and other small keys. Lamp, of course, not an item that runners at this level will really be looking for, but it is always helpful.
For these guys, it's not required, but they will never turn it down, especially because it speeds you up through those dark rooms. Zelga playing it safe there. One hit in this fake flipper state will kill you. That is to prevent a soft lock from happening.
Nothing in Waterfall Cave.
The worst thing, I think, for Zelga-san is to find progression here.
Yep.
Anything that pushes him away from Catfish is going to be very detrimental. And by the way, watching Kyung route this, I think just kind of underscores how interesting Palace of Darkness is as a dungeon in this mode. It takes a fall. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I think he can do the hammer jump after he gets these chests up above here.
Absolutely. He'll want to do these first and then go ahead and hammer jump and mirror out. But finds the first bottle. That not as big now, but it does open up Sick Kid and the big key for Tower of Hera. So there's another little bit of progression there for Kyung. So yeah, Kyung pushes the statue out of the way, gets back into this room, and will now be doing the hammer jump. You see Zelga-san finally getting over to K45 and finds a small key for Dark Palace. Well, that'll help. It will help him route Palace of Darkness a little more efficiently. But as Kyung has showed here, 3 keys is really all you need.
Yeah, I think the only chest the 4th key is going to get is that one, the vanilla big key chest, one overlooking the ledge. Right?
Yeah, I believe so. So Kyung will flute out, unable to complete the dungeon. Wants to grab a potion here real fast.
Zelga may be making his way to Catfish after he checks the pyramid here.
It finds the Palace of Darkness map, which is completely useless. Quick back check. I think maybe he had forgotten that he saw that Palace of Darkness was a 5/6 at the Bomb Merchant, but now he's going to be heading Catfish. This is going to be big. It will get him his Eastern Palace small key or big key, and we'll get him his bow once he goes back.
Pretty much have to follow that Hera big key. There wasn't really anything else in pod besides the bottle for Sick Kid.
Yeah, no other real progression. So Hera is really the only play at this point. Kind of at this point feel like it's got to be in here. Between the two runners, I think we've checked all the sort of smaller extraneous locations. We get an immediate mirror from Zelga-san, pulls out the flute, and I assume we'll be going right back to Eastern Palace. Yep.
Yeah, I can't think of a location that he would have open at this point. Except for, I guess, other chests in pod, but actually, he may check pod before Eastern in this case. Now that he has the 3 pod keys, it's hard to tell. It's only one. It's only one chest in Eastern for him, as he was already there before.
Oh, nice little bit of knowledge there from Zelga-san. Using the Quake Medallion to rouse that fairy from the tree. Ooh, Kyung takes a fall to Moldor. Yeah, happens to the best of us, folks. That's proof. And Zelga-san indeed going to head here into Palace of Darkness. Probably not going to be happy he made this decision once he finds that bow in Eastern Palace, but hey, there's our progression.
Oh, man. Well, other good news is he did pick up a 4th pod key, so he'll be in a similar boat as Kyung. Most likely.
Yep, for sure. But those flippers are a huge find, especially because, we got all the stuff for Swamp Palace very early. Early hook shot, early mirror, early hammer, and of course, most importantly, that Swamp Palace small key.
Ice Palace is also an optional, though not as big.
They unfortunately can't get in there yet due to not having the mitts, but
oh yeah.
As soon as they do find the mitts, though, I agree 100%. Ice Palace will be probably the very next thing they do. Spike Cave has Bombos, which could still be required. We have not been able to go to the Misery Mire area yet. Bombos could be required for that. But we are only missing one medallion between the two runners, and that being Ether.
Quite gonna go to Swamp yet.
Oh, he's gonna go grab the mushroom. So the mushroom was on the Lake Hylia Island. Kyung will be grabbing that really fast, and probably before even going to Swamp, we'll go turn that in. Or actually, never mind. He still hasn't done these.
Yeah, he hasn't done the flippers checks yet.
Yeah, I forgot that was Zelga who did those checks. Speaking of Zelga, forgetting he does not have the big key for Palace Darkness yet, is rebuffed by the chest. But he's going to be done here in just a moment. Can't go any further into the dungeon without that bow, so he'll be mirroring out, mirroring over to the light world, and going into Eastern Palace.
I mean, the Hera key did open a couple options, but yeah, if you're here, even if it's just the one chest, you might as well check it.
Yeah, especially with that big key. You know, you never know when you're going to be back in the area, and he's going to be rewarded? Question mark? With that bow. Probably not going to be happy about how many times he had to dip into these two dungeons, but. Yeah, so Kyung being very, very thorough with his overworld checks. I mean, this Swamp Palace is obviously, it's the next play. It's a crystal dungeon, and it's fully clearable at this point. But Kyung wanting to make sure he gets these checks done before heading in any further. Because he can potentially find the big key for Swamp Palace, which only opens one item, but still one chest.
Yeah, and prevents any sort of re-entry to that dungeon. So saying, this has been. I think it's fair to say that as of now, this has been relatively linear for a Keysanity.
Yeah, I mean, both runners kind of made all the checks they really could. I think there's only a couple locations that Kyung hasn't been to yet that Zugatsan did go to before going to Catfish. But yeah, generally speaking, you know, you expect Keysanity seeds to be kind of all over the place, and given that this seed opened with Dark World access hammer at the mushroom spot.
Yeah, about 5 minutes in for full Dark World access.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it has been so linear.
It's the other green rupee in Kakariko. I think the Magic Bat had the other one.
So our two sort of fetch quest items turn out to be single rupees each. So Zelga-san going to go back into Palace of Darkness for a third time, and will be grabbing these two items on the bow lock section. We'll get his tempered swords.
Yeah, tempered. But we'll probably then have to make his way up to Tower of Hera.
So Kyung's going to continue to put off the Swamp Palace dip, going to knock out these sort of orphaned areas that he was unable to get to earlier. He'll finish off Skull Woods, go do Graveyard Ledge, and maybe route over to K45, but that's a long way to go for a single item check.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of talking about the major differences between these modes. What are you doing, Zelga? I think he just realized. He's going to go ahead while he's here, and this can happen in Keysanity. You forget what you have, what you don't have, and it can be a very intense mode. When you're trying to process all this. But I like this. You're in the area. Don't just rage mirror out right away. Go ahead and take care of that cutscene.
You have to clear the dungeon eventually.
Keeping a level head in a Keysanity seat is very, very important. John gets his Turrock small key and blue pendant, and at some point, I mean, we know that there's nothing left in the areas he's about to check, so it's going to come down to what's in Swamp Palace, really. And I think at this point you have to say that mitts are going to be definitely high priority and probably in Swamp.
Yep.
So it actually looks like Kyung's going to forego those other two checks. So he still hasn't checked either of the mirror spots in the Dark World. Put those off a little bit longer, and we'll head into Swamp Palace.
I believe it was Quake at the Graveyard Ledge?
Yes, that's correct. So could be a very important thing to keep in mind on Kyung's side if Misery Mire does indeed end up being Quake. Or Turtle Rock ends up being Quake and they need to go in there for something.
Oh, he's going to dive to K45 here. Guess it's about the closest you're going to be to it now.
Yeah, it does make me a little bit surprised that he is deciding to do this and didn't do Graveyard Ledge. And it's not a short walk out to Graveyard Ledge from Skull Woods, but it's probably the closest he's going to be at this point. Until, maybe he ends up going back into Thieves Town, if that becomes required.
I guess you do know that the boots are locked behind the mitts, so maybe you wait until you get that and you at least have the boots. I mean, if you have swap to do anyway.
Yeah, I definitely see the logic in that for sure. Zelgadissan gets his Moldarm kill and will pick up his flippers. And I think for him, he's done a lot of these checks. He fake flippered, so he doesn't have to worry about that. I think we see an immediate Swamp Palace play from him. Yeah. I think that's likely.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, despite our giant divergence.
Oh man.
Well, that's an item.
And
first chest and swamp.
Yeah, and kind of good that the flippers are your last item because that is always an annoying check to do, especially if you can't find the Swamp Palace small key.
Yeah, absolutely. If they had been missing like Hookshot, for instance, they wouldn't be able to fully complete the dungeon, but they might dip in here to grab that item. But regardless, we're going to have our runners meet back up here in Swamp Palace and see what the dungeon has in store for us.
Now, with that said, Cane of Samaria gives no immediate progression.
Definitely not. But you'd rather have it than not have it,
Yep.
especially given that Misery Mire is going to be required.
I think once you find them, this also makes a really good case for Ice Palace too. Once you have all of that. You have the big key, one small key. No, we haven't found a small key for Ice Palace yet.
No, and small keys are not required, strictly speaking, for ice, but you like to have them because it makes your life easier as you're going through the dungeon.
And with the cane, even only one small key could be logically required. Second key could be locked off in Ganon's tower.
See Kyung heading over here to the left side first. Given where we're at in the seed, how many items we still need to find, I fully expect both runners to just do left side first, rather than putting it off until afterwards.
Now,
In your normal modes, you can definitely justify doing left side last, especially if you don't find that big key early, and you're planning to come back into the dungeon anyways. You just do the back in first, and then come back in for left side if you still feel like there's value to be had.
there's be more value with a but then with the change. I think in version 28, the second room now defloods when you leave the dungeon. I believe in previous versions it was always flooded, so it wasn't. There's a little bit more justification to also leave left side, because then you didn't have to reflood the room.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a massive difference, time-wise especially. We're actually going to see Zelda-san go to the back end of Swamp first. Interesting, might mean he's thinking about completely skipping left side if he finds progression here.
All right, let's see if it's. Well, that's not. You don't need that key, possibly, although it is 4 items in Thieves Town that it unlocks.
Oh, that's going to, I think, really push Kyung to go back to Thieves Town at some point.
Although with the way the seed is going, I would not be surprised if that's the only thing they're finding in here. Oh, fifth pod key. Yep.
Yeah, another Battles of Darkness small key. Yeah, if that's the only progression, Zelda-san will definitely be going back in here, and we'll check left side. But if there is something that pushes him away to another dungeon, which at this point would have to be on Argus himself, that could push him away from that, and yeah, who knows? There's still, 4 items remaining in Thieves Town?
Yep. They did find the small key to Thieves in Eastern Palace, so it's fully clearable.
Yeah, but I think unless Argus has progression here, Zelda-san will be going back into Swamp Palace.
Yep.
Hard to really justify coming out of this dungeon with nothing.
And again, I don't even know what else he would even be able to check. That's a good kill by on the Argus, quick kill.
Yeah, very nicely done. And a blue rupee. So our only form of potential progression in Swamp Palace is that Thieves Town big key. Yeah, and Zelda-san right back in there. He knows there's got to be something in here. He's checked everything else that is available to him in this seat so far. So there has to be something.
I mean, I think the only other... No, not even that, because that would be, logically, you could still lock yourself up. I was thinking the looking chest in Palace of Darkness, but no, you would need to find the 6 pod key before. Well, technically, for the logic anyway. So yeah, I think it has to be Thieves. Something has to be in Thieves.
Alright, so Kyung has finished up his Swamp Palace dip. Only came out of there with the Thieves' Big Key, so I expect that's going to be our next check here. Yeah, the season's been just incredibly linear to this point, which, you know, is not the most exciting thing. But in a Keysanity race, you know, for your own sanity, not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
The rate this is going, we're just going to get the big key to pod here.
that would be something. I mean, it would be Zelgasan's 4th trip into Palace of Darkness at this point. I think Kyung only made the 1 trip in, so... Zelga trying for a weird clip there through, but didn't quite get it. It's going to have to reset the room. Alright, so Zelga-san gonna pick up his Thieves' Big Key. Going to be thinking, really? And will make his way out. While Kyung is going to give us our look at what is progression. What are we gonna find here? Whoop, Zelga. Okay, Zelga has not done Mushroom.
Yeah, Island Island.
I think he had forgotten about it just like we had. Oh, hello, Kike. That is me. My name is Jay Misha. Thank you for. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I am Lightyear once again.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in. Everybody who's joining us. This has been a very interesting race thus far. Kyung has a little bit of a lead. Zelga-san.
What did you do, Zelga? I haven't seen this glitch before.
Zelga-san, I think, showing off a little texture glitch here, sprite glitch. Hopefully, will fix itself once he leaves this room. It's unpleasant to look at. I was wondering what he was doing. He hadn't even seen the item yet. Alright, well, running out of options here.
Yep, it's either blind or radiator. And it's...
Oh my goodness.
That is the second pure vanilla item. Vanilla bow and now vanilla Titan's mitts.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you know, there were some people throwing around the Plando word in the race chat beforehand. Now I'm asking questions.
Now, with that said, besides medallions and besides possibly the ether medallion, is that at least that's all the items I believe they will need, right?
Yeah. I was about to say unless Desert is boots locked, but we know where boots are, and that they'll be there once. In fact, Kyon can go get them right this moment and finish Desert House.
No, I don't. They haven't found the desert big key yet. But definitely worth it to check the at least. Well, I guess 2 locations right now. It's a very quick check. In desert, of course, Meyer Shed and Quake. So Kyong is going to have to take a trip to Graveyard Ledge, which he may do now that he has the boots and Titan's boots for at least King's Tomb.
Yeah, that is definitely a saving grace for him. It would have been really bad if Graveyard Ledge got orphaned. But yeah, like you said, he's going to have those boots now. He's going to check Bonk Rocks. And yeah, can absolutely route in a Graveyard Ledge check with those.
And here, I don't think you even think about stealing the key from the back just to get the 2 items in desert.
No, definitely not. Especially not since it's one of our 5/6 crystal. So you definitely want to be able to finish this dungeon here and now. Or no, sorry, they don't even have the big key, so completely spaced on that. Yeah, so that's it. Kyong's done in desert. I forgot. Playing Keysanity, of course. And you'll just find the big key in the dungeon.
So do you probably go Dark Death Mountain and then after this, and then check out maybe quickly dip Turtle Rock if the opportunity presents itself?
I think you have to consider it for sure. I think Dark Death Mountain is absolutely the next play. There's a lot of items up there, and yeah, if Turtle Rock is Bombos for Kyong, then I think you go there for sure.
Smith Chain for Kyong instead?
Yeah, he's in the area. This could also be the Bonk Rocks, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb play as well. Yeah. I mean, I think it's possible he routes all of them in together.
We definitely know he's going to make the right play here and get his Quake medallion.
Yeah, definitely one of those. He'll be glad he has it now, but probably be thinking, man, if I'd gone there earlier, could have just gone into Misery Mire and finished it. And of course, on Zugga's side, he is missing Bombos, which we know is not strictly required to complete the seed. At least we know that at this point. We think that's the case. But he does have Quake, so once he gets over here, he's going to be able to go in and finish off Misery Mire.
And I can't see him not doing it right now. Just get it done.
It's a fully clearable crystal dungeon. And yeah, it's not the most item dense dungeon in the game, but at this point, you got to get these dungeons finished off as quickly as possible.
And see what was in King's Tomb.
I believe it's just a big 20 there, so not finding much value in those 2 checks, but we know that this one is going to be very valuable for Kyong. Man, I'm just thinking, our two bottlenecks this seed were Vanilla Bow and Vanilla Titan's Mitts.
And considering the path you even had to take to get those Titan's Mitts, just to even get into the back half of Thieves, you had to go through Swamp, which you need Slippers from Hera. I'd be kind of interested in the sphere count of this seed.
Zelga is struggling a little bit here to get through this first room. See if Kyong is able to pull it off a little bit faster. Pretty nice. Doesn't quite get the one cycle off, but I missed it. Was that a Vanilla's? Not a Vanilla small key,
but a Meyer small key in the big chest. So definitely makes this, definitely makes this dungeable, even easier to route now.
I see Kyong actually going to start here on the left side. Ooh, Desert Palace small key. That's pretty nicely placed. So as soon as he's done here, I'll just mirror back in and check out those two chests. Taking him over there to make sure he has everything lined up for the Fire Rod clip through blocks. Blocks in Link to the Past are a little bit weird in that regard, in that as soon as they start moving, they lose their status as objects. And you can fire things through them, which is why you'll often see people using the hook shot to clip through them to get places faster.
Yep. And they also They also have an interaction with the mirror, although not in dungeons.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be using the mirror in here. That would be bad. But, in places like the path, in Super Bunny Cave, for instance, or even in the dam if you have the mirror, if you use the mirror while pushing a block, it will just disappear. And you can just walk right through it.
I think Kyong's routing is that he's going to get the maybe the bridge chest as the last chest, maybe.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Meanwhile, Zelga is going to knock out these left side checks last. And honestly, this really just comes down to preference and comfort. And both routes, I haven't timed it personally, but both give you an easy route over to the boss whenever you want to get there. There's I think that's the final Palace of Darkness key.
Found all 6. And yet no big key for it. But that means now that that chest, they could have something now.
Theoretically. And given the way the seed has gone, well, I mean, you say that now. We had Vanilla Bow and Vanilla Mix.
So yeah, watch it be Vanilla Big Key in Pod.
That would be amazing, and I'm personally rooting for it. You see Zelga's on using making nice use of the hook shot there to get to grab that chest.
But otherwise, not much in Meyer.
No, Kyong getting a little spooky here. I don't know that Zelga-san set this up, but see Kyong able to avoid having to bomb open the wall and hit the switch behind it as a very recently discovered trick. Pretty cool. I don't know if we'll get into the specifics of it here, but check it out. Just look up Meyer Spooky Glitch. Zelga-san, I think, was trying to set it up, but unfortunately wasn't able to get those fire rod shots, we'll just do this the normal way.
So which chest did Kyong skip in? Did he not get the bridge chest? That's the only one I could think.
Yeah, he must have skipped the big chest, which, you know...
No, the bridge, not the... I know he got
the bridge. Yeah, you're right. He did skip that one. Zoga decided to grab it.
I don't... but
fortunately for him, yeah, it was just a arrow upgrade. Which I can assure you he will not be going back in. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
I guess with the way this seed is going... I mean, I guess you've got the desert check after, so you might as well take... You're pretty much taking out this entire area then. Until you get the desert big key.
Is, maybe he just forgot it. Because in a... Kyong was in the standard tournament, so I imagine a lot of his time has been put into practicing those. I don't know how much Keysanity's played lately, but that's a chest you almost always check first in the normal modes. So maybe he just simply forgot about it.
Yeah, it's pretty much this is a Keysanity only route. You could do it if you got lucky with the small keys in Meyer, but...
Yeah, I just think, when you have the hook shot, you can, as Zelga did, just check it. He's still going to come out a little bit ahead of Zelga-san here, which I think is pretty impressive given that Kyong entered the dungeon roughly about 45 seconds behind.
Zelga also has to do the full Desert Palace.
That is true.
And I think that small key now puts Ice Palace fully in logic now. You have the one small key, the big key, and then they've got both the cane and the hook shot.
Yep, those two chests in desert not paying out, nothing of any value in there. So here we go, going to ice.
Pretty much the only play once again.
Just a little serenade as we mirror over or portal over to the Dark World. So as you can see there from the compass count, 8 item locations here in Ice Palace.
Normally 3 for standard mode.
Yeah, 3 items, not counting the dungeon items, but a little bit more valuable here in a mode like Keysanity.
Our second Agadim key.
Yeah, and at this point, completely worthless key. Already gotten both items from there, and Agadim is definitely not required to complete the seed.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of, we already checked Spike Cave, the only thing that even possibly and only by logic would be Laser Bridge, but these runners will be skipping those lasers should they need to.
Yeah, especially with those boots, becomes a little bit easier. I won't say it's very easy to skip those lasers, but boots certainly makes it easier than not having them. And of course, that's assuming we would have to go to Laser Bridge. I know our runners are hoping that they never have to set foot in that godforsaken dungeon.
Yeah. Considering that they haven't seen a lot in Turtle Rock keys, that's right now a decent bet.
Yeah, I think are we just at the 1?
I believe so, and not even the big key. You can't even get to Laser Bridge that way. But Turtle Rock also has some interesting sectioning out in Keysanity. Like, 1 key doesn't really get you too much, but 2 keys can get you all the way to even the big chest. So, Mimic Cave and the vanilla big key chest. Of course, you don't, in Keysanity, you generally don't want to even check the vanilla big key chest in Turtle Rock unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, for sure. Usually what you're looking for is 3 small keys for Turtle Rock. Yeah, if it's a crystal, that's what once you have 3 keys, that's when you know, okay, I'm ready to go to Turtle Rock. We haven't really found much here.
No.
Nice palace so far. Still 5 checks to go, though.
Well, some other things we haven't found is some big keys too. And we still have the Desert Big Key, the Palace of Darkness Big Key, and of course the Ganon's Tower Big Key.
Yeah, really at this point, that's all we're looking for. Item-wise, they're about as outfitted as you would hope to be at this point in the Keysanity Seed. Useless Misery Mire small key there.
Yep.
But of course, the thing about the Ganon's Tower Big Key is it could be anywhere, including in Ganon's Tower, which you wouldn't really expect to see in a Keysanity Seed, but it's happened.
Yeah. It's usually the benefit to Keysanity is that you can just zoom straight through Ganon's Tower, but not always.
Yeah, that becomes kind of one of the big gambles you can decide to make. Is if you have everything for all the crystals and you finished all those dungeons, you can either continue checking the overworld to look for that Ganon's Tower Big Key, or search for it in the tower itself. Only one item remaining here, and that's going to be whatever drops from Cold Stare.
And again, it almost has to be something, doesn't it? Oh no, I guess it's Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's I think that's if nothing comes of this. They did get the Palace of Darkness Big Key, which means they can complete that dungeon, but there's really not much left there for them to find. I think only 2 more checks, the Vanilla Big Key spot and boss.
Yeah, it might be worth it to go to Pod before making the trek up to Death Mountain. Or just get all the big keys.
So Heist Palace is holds all the big keys for the crystal dungeons, and so after that, all we're really looking for is that GT Big Key. Oh, this could be interesting. I mean, I think the play here is to finish off your remaining crystal dungeons.
Yeah.
Maybe you check Pyramid Fairy. I think that, if you're wanting to be as thorough as possible, maybe you make that check. But I think what you definitely do is you go to Dark Death Mountain and check those quick spots. Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny, before going into Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I agree. Just hope you don't get something like, if it's early in Turtle Rock, it's early in Turtle Rock. I don't think there's nothing else you can do about it.
Yeah, I think if I were in these runners' shoes, though, I would make those checks, but then no matter what I found, I would probably be going into Ganon's Tower. It's risky. It's risky in a seed where Turtle Rock has not been explored at all.
Although, again, with the relative lack of keys for Turtle Rock, there's not much you can explore. Right now, I think you've only got the first 3 chests in Turtle Rock. And that's assuming that it's not Ether Lock, too.
Absolutely. We still don't know what it takes to get in there. I think there's a lot of information that's going to be had by the time they finish up with Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny, and checking Turtle Rock. I think that will more inform whatever decision they decide to go with.
From the way Keong has played, you didn't check the Desert Palace big chest. I think you just went straight to the back of Desert, right?
I missed if you went and checked that. It doesn't look like it. Oh,
That'd be
Well,
more
that-
dangerous if you had more keys for Turtle Rock.
yeah, for sure. I think you'd rather not find it at this point, I think, but it's not a death knell. Because, as I mentioned, the Ganstown Bear Key can be practically anywhere, and that includes Sahasrara or the pedestal. Looks like he did indeed skip out on the big chest, so he'll go in here and give it a look. Our runners are just desperately hoping for that Ganon Tower big key at this point. See Zelgadistan doing the same thing. I think this is a nice little routing efficiency choice.
Yeah, I guess you have to kill Moldrums, or not Moldrum, land Mullahs, no matter what.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably see the same thing here, where they're going to go straight back to Helmsor King, kill him first, and then if he doesn't drop the GT Big Key, go in and check that final chest and pod. But I love this kind of seed because it really shows you kind of, what runners, how risk averse are they? So it's really going to, I think, show the gamblers are gonna become obvious to us. The people who are just going to rely on their execution and want to be thorough, don't want to be leaving a spot that could potentially have that final item you need. I think these types of seeds are super interesting.
Yeah, especially since, just what, just how it just has contracted in at least two parts of the seed, if not more, counting Swamp too. Just at this point, it's like it's done that twice now. Is it going to do it a third time? Somewhere.
We'll have to find a way to find out.
Another thing about Keysanity is there is, well, maybe not the seed, but a somewhat potential of a required double dip into Ganon's Tower. We find some Turtle Rock keys there.
It's certainly not out of the question, and I think that's one of the big things that would lead me to go to Ganon's Tower first. After doing Hook Shot Cave, Super Bunny. Even if I were to find some stuff for Turtle Rock in those spots, going to Ganon's Tower might be required anyways. If you have to go even deeper into TR. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see the way everything is laid out here at the end. Kyong opting for the swordless hammer hits onto the face. That's a much more of an NNG strategy to kill this boss. Gets it done pretty easily.
Yep. And just another red rupee. Yeah.
Zelga going for a little bit of Samaria swag.
Oh, the bonk, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, like that, this is a daily race. There's not a whole lot on the line. Show off a little bit.
Yep, Kyong is going to finish this full clear pod before making the trek up to most likely Dark Death Mountain and Ganon's Tower, I don't.
Yeah, so he
Vanilla
this.
big key chest.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Of course.
Completely worthless. And the final chest, completely forgot. I completely forgot about it. Was Harmless Hellway, which, given that they came in here with 3 keys last time, means they skipped that. Or no, Kelm got that.
No, big key chest.
Oh,
or big
of course.
Key. Yeah.
I was like trying to think, what chest did they miss? Right. Gonna get another hammer yump here though.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
Now that opens up, now 6 locations in Turtle Rock, I believe. Well, I think
decision making gets a little more tricky at this point. Kyung going to, he's been pretty thorough this entire seed, so not surprisingly, I think he's going to be making a pyramid fairy check first.
And Zelga is not going to finish off Pod and not get that Turtle Rock small key, I believe.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble, but I think at this point Zelga's probably feeling like he's got to get into Ganon's tower sooner rather than later. Given how unfortunately inefficient his routing was with 4 dips into Pod, can't really justify spending too much more time in there. So he's going to make this play up Death Mountain. We'll probably be making checks along the way, but then we'll get into GT as quickly as he can.
Unfortunately, Pyramid Fairy does not pay off.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those deals, and Kyung is very confident in his half magic is a nice find.
Yeah, half magic and fire shield. Not as useful, but still a little bit convenient to have.
Yeah, I was about to say Kyung is probably very confident in his execution, which is why he's making more checks than Zelga is. Zelga, I think at this point, as I mentioned, probably feels like he needs to play a little bit more fast and loose. This gamble could.
This was open fairly for a while now, and again, almost absolutely nothing here.
So Zelga not even going to check Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and let's see if Kyung does.
I have to imagine he will, especially since he got that second Turtle Rock.
Well, maybe not, because he didn't go up here in the light world, so.
You can very easily pop over to that screen and take a look at it.
I guess.
Well, either way, he's going to check Hookshot Cave first. But we finally get into Ganon's tower.
All right, and once again, 22 items, but one of them might actually be the GT big key.
He's still going to find the vanilla small key. And, normally in Keysanity, you're not really too concerned about finding Ganon's tower small keys. You really only need one. Once you have the one, you can finish off the rest of the dungeon. Because, of course, normally you have the big key before coming up here. But in this scenario, the runners are going to have to keep an eye out on that. I think they found enough. I think they found 2.
I think that was actually the second one. I think they've only found 1.
Or
no, maybe they found 2.
And then they found 1 in this dungeon.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like Kyung didn't even go take a look. And Swamp Palace Big E Turtle Rock big
No!
Is Hogan-san getting baited by those two big keys?
I still don't see that you just... Well, you have only... Well, I guess there's only one Ganon's Tower big key left. Oh, but there's nice. It's always a nice pickup.
Yeah, very nice place for that.
Yeah, I guess with the 3 keys now, you can just... Doesn't really matter how you route to Ganon's Tower, as long as you don't open the one door, you'll be able to complete it fully.
They should be fine. There's enough keys off of enemies and under pots that I think they're all under pots. But yeah, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is all the other big keys in the game. The only one we are missing is Ganon's Tower.
I don't think we found Skull big key, but I don't think we really need it.
You're correct. So we have one more opportunity for the game to completely fake out our runners here.
You can kind of tell the fake out because, well, you can't even tell it with the big key. The small keys, you can tell that they're a little bit. It's a different coloration if they're like native compared to if they're a different dungeons. But I don't think that's the same with the big key.
Zelda may be a little bit thrown off there. When he signed up for this race, maybe not expecting to have to do these rooms. But I accidentally left that screen without flipping the switch, so I had to go back in for it. So Kyung's hot on his heels here. This is ended up being a pretty nice race.
Yeah, just considering how varied the routes were until, the bow.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, just kind of recap. Vanilla Bow, Vanilla Mitts, both locking off large amounts of progression.
And with all these checks, still no GT big key.
We're still looking for it. And, I mean, there have been some items in here that would maybe make you think that a double dip of GT was required. Shovel was found. They found the cape, but they know what those cape spots are, so they don't need them. Although, I mean, there is a small key on Bumper Ledge. Could be our third Turtle Rock small key.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's the only other invincibility item, as we know that the blue cane is on Aghanim, Lumberjack.
Another Turtle Rock small key.
Oh, man.
So that makes 2 for Zelda-san. That will be Kyung's third.
And again, that could be pretty big if Turtle Rock has to be explored. Zelda will have to go back to Palace of Darkness to get that third key. Oh, Riot Shield. There's the last GT small key. So just tile room. Just tile room.
Tile room, of course. So easily forgotten. This has been an amazing scene to watch, just all the way around. I do want to point out, this is, we are featuring these 2 runners here, but we do have 20 others in this race. No one has finished yet. Not surprising given the nature of this seed, but we'll let you know if anybody finishes ahead of these 2. Zelda-san using a neat little cape trick. If you hold onto a wall from a neutral state, it will not cost you any magic. And we're out. That's it.
So, yeah, pretty much has to be Turtle Rock.
And the thing is, you know, if Zelga Dasan finds the big key in one of these early chests, his gamble to not go back into Palace of Darkness will have paid off. Although I didn't see what that was.
I didn't see. It might have been Ether, right? Oh no, he doesn't have Bombos. Yeah,
He clearly doesn't. He clearly wasn't Quake.
Oh, it was Bombos.
Oh, and he's gonna get it here.
Yep.
He was in Spike Cave. So the lead changes hands. And that is all because Kyung decided to make this check after he finished up Tower of Hair, where Zelga-san skipped it.
Although it was a sequence, technically a logic break, but I don't think that... But sometimes breaking logic can pay off.
I would say a fair amount of times it does. You always just have to kind of bear in mind what is sequence broken, what isn't.
Yep.
As long as you're able to keep track of that in your head, you'll be fine. But man, what a seed. And I mean, at this point, all signs point to it being in here or being, you know, from beating Trinix.
So that small key on Bumper Cave, that either has to be the 4th Turtle Rock small key or it has to be an Ice Palace small key, I think. All the other small keys have been found.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine it being in that middle chest?
Especially if it's like, I mean, do you check the vanilla big key chest or do you go after Trinex for that 4th?
I think you have, like,
I think you have to go after Trinex.
From a pure numbers standpoint, you have to go for Trinex because it's not only the item on Trinex, it's Sahasrara and the pedestal. Our tracker Linkforce pointing out also missing. Yeah, thank you, Linkforce. Missing the Tower of Hera small key, which, hey, you know, GT Big Key could be in Hera basement.
We got to be getting close. This has got to be at least 180 item count by now.
It's certainly up there. I mean, we've full cleared 2 of the pendant dungeons. We're on our way to full clearing the 3rd. And, you know, almost all of the overworld has been checked at this point.
200's still really hard, even with an absolute full clear, just because there's some locations you just skip and never come back to.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Cape was in GT, so you know that's small key. If that's like the Hera big key or Hera small key. Oh, another thing that could. Yeah, Kyung is not going to check the vanilla big key chest. Gonna use that key to possibly fight Trinex.
Yeah, he's making the percentage play here, saying I'm either checking 1 item or I'm checking 3.
And now this is also bad news for Zelga because unless it's Mimic Cave, he's going to have to leave and get that Turtle Rock key from at least Pod.
I can't see him going back to Pod anytime soon. I mean, eventually his hand is going to be forced. But
he might remember the Bumper Cave too. You did get the cape.
Yeah, I think he's gotta be thinking about that shovel. He's gotta be thinking about the small key on Bumper Cave. You know, he made a gamble to leave Pod early and to get into GT, you know, pretty quickly. And he's whenever you do that, you really have to pay off these gambles. Or at least try to pay them off.
Well, I'm going to need to go even deeper. So I doubt Zelga. Well, I guess in this case, do you check that vanilla big key chest after you check Mimic Cave and know you can't do anything? I mean, unless you think it's on Trinex, you might have to.
I think you have to check everything you possibly can here.
There we are.
And that's go mode for Kyong.
1 hour, 51 minutes, 15 seconds in.
Yeah, mercifully for our runner's sake, it is found there. And yeah, that's, that's good news for Zelga Dasan.
No.
That is the last chest he can get in this dungeon.
No, I don't believe he can get it. I think you need the big key for that door. Or no,
he
you
has
get the big
he
key.
has the big key.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking small keys.
Yeah,
Third small key.
For him.
Yeah.
That is available to him. That is going to be big news. Means he won't have to go searching for another small key.
So that means also Ganon's Tower double dip completely required. Needed that Turtle Rock big key from
the
right side.
You cannot really ask for much more in a seed than what we have gotten here today.
So let's think of the items that didn't get checked. You got like the 5 remaining in Turtle Rock. You have you probably won't check any of the final chests in the gauntlet here, or the big. But yeah, other than that, not much between the two runners that wasn't checked.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the world this seed. And Zelga-san trying to remember where he needs to mirror out. He finds it there. He's going to have to make his trip back up, unfortunately. But Kyong begins his climb of the gauntlet. Still no finishers yet, so could have either of these two runners coming out on top in this field.
I think we're going to see the finishes come quickly once one's finishes.
Yeah, I think given the way the seed was laid out, very linearly. With these kind of seeds, really a lot of it comes down to how is your execution.
Yep. It's fair to say we know these runners both have excellent execution.
Yeah, Kyong's struggling a little bit here going through these first few rooms of the gauntlet. That room there was much nicer. Gets the splash fire rod shot off and dashes out of this room. Very nicely done.
Looks like he's going to take the ferry. Which does desync the landmillas a bit.
Yeah, we'll have to settle for possibly a 2 cycle here. And does get it. I believe bottle-wise, he found a blue potion in GT, so I think Kyong has a red and a blue at this point.
I believe so too, and I think Zelga has 2. No, Kyong had to use his blue in Ice Palace. I believe he only has the red now.
Well, but I believe he found one. He found one in GT.
Oh, okay.
I think one of the chests was a blue potion. Regardless, with blue nail, 18 hearts, and half magic. I don't really foresee this anything that's coming up being a big roadblock for our runners.
No. Yep, no more chests.
Zelga-san doing a very nice job getting that one cycle on Landmo 2. John going to refill his health and magic here with those fairies and the full magic pot.
And then one dash attack and then one spin will take down Moldrum. They both had Temper Sword when they fought him originally.
Feels like so long ago.
No.
Here we go. We're on to Aga 2, the geometry lesson. Double on the first cycle there for Kyong. Oh, nice double.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite get the 3 cycle there, thanks to the blue balls from the main Aghanim, but does get it on the 4th. And he's going to head off to face Ganon. This race has ended up being super close.
Yeah, Zelga just about maybe 2 minutes behind at this point.
Yeah, gonna lose a little bit more with that fall to Moldrum 2, unfortunately. Oof. Moldrum not playing nice right now.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say this has also been a very fatiguing seed.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think, things that... Oh, Jesus. That's rough. It's one of the things you don't really think about when you're watching a race like this. Especially with Keysanity, it is very mentally taxing. So I have to imagine our runners are pretty spent by this point.
Oh, I love that setup. Let's get the 3. Oh, not quite.
Almost, but there it is. The final silver arrow hit into Ganon. Kyong, assuming he can get over this platform, will finish this race.
Yep. And he has completed with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 59 minutes even.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, that's not only first place of our 2 runners, it's first place in the race overall, so get your GGs in chat for Kyong.
Yep. We have a second finisher, Wayne, with 1:59:53, just under the 2 hour mark. I guess they never dug up the shovel spot. But,
Yep, it probably would have been the next item of order for Zelga had it not been in Torah, but we'll know from the credits what it was eventually. We'll see if we can get either of these runners in for an interview. Of course, Zelga-san going to be finishing up his Ganon fight here shortly.
Go find.
Looks like we will be getting Kyong here for interview, and Zelga-san finishes off Ganon.
Bottle at the dig spot.
And a little flag bow dash there from Zelga-san. He is going to finish third with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 31 seconds. GG's to Zelga. All right, we'll try to get both runners in here in just a moment. See if Zelga will be joining us.
All right.
And we do indeed have both of our restrained runners, Kyong and Zelga-san. GG's, guys. Fantastic race.
Hey, GG's. Thank you very much.
GG, thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So let's talk about it. So, vanilla bow, vanilla mitts.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty awful. I mean, I last locationed several things, so I was hoping that bow would basically kind of be my savior, and it seems like it probably was, at least against the majority of the racers.
Yeah, I mean that was really kind of the early bottleneck was the big key from Eastern Palace into that bow. So kind of what were you guys thinking once you found that, and after you had already checked so much of the overworld?
Me personally, I was super glad that I didn't do Saha and Eastern early, because it's quite common to do that since it's all early locations, and you usually can get both the Eastern Big Key and the bow before going back.
Yeah, and I had done that. I did the double dip into Eastern. So I honestly, whenever I went in there, I had just gotten, what was it? I think it was maybe the Hera Big Key from Pod. So I only had that and the big chest of Eastern were my only options. So I was thinking, well, if I'm right here, I might as well just go in and check this one thing. And then I got the bow, which was really good, but also not really, honestly, that much progression either.
Yeah, I think the only progression ended up being the Tower of Hera Big Key. It was really interesting because the early game felt so wide open with you had Dark World access from 5 minutes in, but then everything kind of bottlenecked from that point. It ended up becoming pretty linear until the kind of final stretch.
Yeah, I ended up regretting a few decisions early on because I ended up having to come back to a few locations that ended up getting orphanated because of how I played. But
yeah, no, honestly, the biggest thing for me was just seeing the boots on the desert ledge and being taunted with them for like an hour and a half almost.
Yeah, this seed was really mean in that regard, and several times there.
Yeah, and Zelga, you got the mirror a lot earlier too. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm not too surprised. Just the way that I was kind of routing at the start, I was thinking that, I got all this overworld stuff that I can be doing, and man, it just led nowhere. It just this super linear path that you had to take, and I just cleared everything else except that path for a long time.
Yeah, and then of course we get to the end there, and you have everything you need except for the GT big key, and we got a couple of fake outs there in 2 consecutive checks to the GT. Kind of giving you guys mindset once you finished out those last couple crystals, and the GT big key was the only thing left.
For me, I was thinking that I knew I didn't have it, but I mean, in any Keysanity seed, you've got like a 10% chance it's going to be in Ganon's Tower. So I was thinking I might as well just go. I've got a few things like Pyramid Fairy or the Smith Chain, but I mean, we're going to go up there anyway and just look for the key. And then when I got the Turtle Rock big key, I was actually kind of happy about it. It just turned out that I didn't have Bombos, so I had to go find that first, which, I mean, I did that immediately, but finding that Turtle Rock big key, I was thinking, okay, that's going to be my safety net. If it's not in here, that's a really dense location that I'll go to next, and that's where it was.
Yeah, and also there was actually a third Turtle Rock big key found. It was in the Palace of Darkness big chest. So.
Okay, I was kind of wondering about that one too, because I left that and the vanilla big key.
We were it led to a lot of speculation, because you skipped it. Kyong, you went in there and did get that third Turtle Rock small key. If the big key had been beyond that, it would have been really bad news for you, Zelga. But
I skipped. I did everything except the Smith Chain and Hammer Pegs before going to GT. And I didn't even check Turtle Rock Medallion. Went straight to GT, so I guess I skipped that as well.
Yeah, I hadn't done Spike Cave before that, so I did all of Ganon's Tower that I could, then ran over to Ganon's Tower or Turtle Rock and realized I couldn't do it, and then just went directly to Spike Cave and got Bombos, and was like, oh, really? I'm gonna have to climb the mountain again.
Yeah, but you did make some gambles, Zelga, but it ended up, I think, working out in your favor more than it didn't, and ended up making for a very close race between you two. So once again, GG's to both of you. That was a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, GG's. Thank you very much. I'll look forward to watching it back and seeing where the divergences came.
Meanwhile, we do have some other finishers. I just want to go ahead and shout out real quick. We have Big Dunk Up finishing in 4th place with the official SRL time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 39 seconds. Ninban in 5th place with time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 9 seconds. Matt 7898 in 6th with 2 hours, 6 seconds, 6 minutes, and 7 seconds. And Fantalis in 7th, 2 hours, 8 minutes, 36 seconds. But yeah, Lightyear, did you have anything else for our 2 runners here?
Not really. I still say that's probably one of the most linear Keysanities I've seen. Just not really, just considering how it opened too. Considering how it opened, just how it bottlenecked, and pretty much most of the Dark World had to be done in a certain order.
Absolutely. Any closing thoughts from you guys, Kyong and Zelga?
For me, this is a good reminder why I haven't played Keysanity since I lost in the Keysanity tournament.
Yeah.
It's nice to come back and play it again every once in a while. I'm sure I'll do it again sometime soon. It's just, I don't know if I could ever make this my main mode again.
I personally really enjoy Keysanity, to be honest. Even seeds like this, I find kind of interesting in its own way. But yeah, just thanks for the commentary stream and everything, as always.
Yes, and thank you once again for letting us restream you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. If you haven't already, give our runners a follow. They are fantastic, and catch them on their channels. They're mainstays in the community. But also, do want to thank our tracker today. Linkforce Zero did a fantastic job tracking this Keysanity, which can always be a bit of a tricky one to do. And thank you, Lightyear, for commentating with me. Like I said, this has been a really fun race to commentate.
Yeah. No problem. Again, thanks. Thanks to everyone here.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and step out of the way. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and come back and see us again. We've got these daily races running. It says in the name, daily. But I've been Jay Meisher.
And I have been Lightyear.
Thank you all, and have a fantastic day.